Today I'm going to show you guys how to make my all-time favorite Arabic meal, which is Diwali. I first ate this a couple years ago at my mother-in-law's house, and I had to figure out how to make it. I probably ate like 100 of them while I was sitting there. So first you're going to start off by sauteing some onion and garlic, add a little bit of olive oil, and then saute this while we prepare the rest of the rice filling. Next, wash about 2 cups of short grain rice. Make sure to use the short Egyptian rice and not the long rice. So wash this really well. I wash mine about 5 times to make sure the water runs clear. In your washed rice, add a tiny minced tomato, my favorite spices, about a teaspoon of Arabic 7 spices, a tablespoon of salt, stirring your onions and garlic the whole time. A lot of black pepper, probably about a tablespoon. And a little bit of all of these spices. But for measurement's sake, I'm going to be using a 1/4 teaspoon. So we've got 1/4 teaspoon of cumin, 1/4 teaspoon of ground cardamom, 1/4 teaspoon of curry powder, 1/4 teaspoon of paprika, and a 1/4 teaspoon of garlic powder. Next, I'm going to mince up some mint, parsley, oops, got them wrong. Parsley, dill, and mint. Fresh is always better, but you can use dried. I've used dried before and they still come out pretty good, but fresh is always best. And for measurement's sake, I'm using about a 1/4 cup of minced fresh herbs. If you're using dried, use probably like half that amount, so like 1 to 2 tablespoons of dried. Add your sauteed onions and garlic. So here's the stuffing for Diwali. You can roll it immediately, but we're actually going to run to the park because it's so gorgeous out. So I'm going to store this in the fridge. And the last ingredient I totally forgot is a little bit of pomegranate molasses. Next, let's prepare the grape leaves themselves. These are dried grape leaves from my mother-in-law's backyard in Jordan. She grew them in Madaba and she preserves them there. If you don't have homegrown grape leaves, you can use the store-bought ones, but obviously homegrown is always the best. I have no idea how she got them all in here, but I just cut through the end of it, so I actually messed up a couple of them. But I'm gonna slide the rest out like this into the pan. Alright, and then cover these with water. And then you're gonna bring it to a simmer and cook them until they turn dark green. Now that they're a darker green color like this, you can start rolling them. So you're gonna take a couple at a time. I'm only doing 3 just to show you how it's done, but most people lay out like 20 of these at a time. Make sure the veins are facing the inside. Grab some of the rice, only about 1 or 2 teaspoons. And then you're gonna spread it out a little bit like that. So spread it to about the size that one stuffed grape leaf would be when you eat it. And then you're gonna tuck each side in first. And then you're gonna roll it, and you do actually want it to be pretty tight. Take these, and then roll. Mine are by no means perfect, but they do taste delicious. You can kind of start to get an eye how much rice goes with how much leaves, because every leaf is a different size. So this one actually needs just a little bit more rice. You don't want too much, because if you add too much, your grape leaves are gonna explode and break apart. 3 down, about 500 to go. Diwali is probably one of the most time consuming Arabic meals out there, but they are so worth it because they're so delicious. They do take a really long time to roll, so a lot of times they'll roll half of them in one day and half of them the next day. So I finished rolling the grape leaves last night, and today I'm gonna cook the lamb. I've got my lamb here, and I like to season it with salt and pepper and 7 spices before I cook it to lock in a lot of the flavor. Pepper. So most people will boil theirs, but I find the Instant Pot is so much faster and makes the lamb really tender. Add your yellow onion. Oops. And then add the lamb with the seasoning. And then cover your lamb with water. You don't really want many pieces sticking out the top. Add your lid. Put the vent on sealing. And you're gonna pressure cook. I'm gonna do 25. You could do 20 minutes if you have less meat, but I'm gonna do 25 because I have more meat today. And this is the most fun part. It's layering the grape leaves. On the bottom of the pan so the lamb doesn't stick, you're gonna add tomato slices, potato slices, and onion slices. On top of this, add your cooked lamb. And a piece of lamb. Fork. Next you have your lamb. So on top of the lamb, you're gonna add a little bit of a stock cube. Add some more 7 spices. Just a little bit, maybe half a teaspoon. And then sprinkle salt across the top. You can taste your lamb after it's done cooking to see how salty it is. Mine needed a little bit more salt, so I added extra salt. Wally that we rolled last night. So you're gonna add about half of them on top of the lamb. And then on top of the first layer, add tomato slices, some more lemon slices, and onions. Drizzle with a little bit of olive oil.
It's good, Mommy.
And then drizzle with pomegranate molasses.
It's good, my dear.
We're gonna repeat what we just did with the second layer of the rolled grape leaves. So add the other half of the Diwali. Add more tomato slices, more lemon slices, and more onion. Try to get it flat. Add a little bit more olive oil, more pomegranate molasses, and then add a plate on top. It's gonna help hold the top grape leaves down while they start to cook. Transfer this to your stove, and then fill your pot with boiling hot water, not cold water. So see where the water is right there? It's a little bit underneath the leaves. And then turn up the heat to high until you hear it bubbling, and then reduce your heat to low. Cover with a lid, and you're gonna cook for about 2 hours. Towards the 2 hours, you can remove the plate and start taking the ones off the top to see if they're done yet. They're still a teeny bit tough, so I'm gonna cook them about 15 more minutes. So in the last 5 minutes of cooking, add the juice of 1 lemon, and this is gonna give your grape leaves that signature tangy flavor.